again, my friends, and good evening to you all. It's another Matchday Ticket live. We're back every single game since the first pre-season in August, which was Colchester United. We've been here every step of the way. Every goal has been very few of those in the right net. Every 0-0 draw, every up, every down. And with Swindon currently beating Portsmouth, thanks to a Brett Pittman goal, I won't say what Cruncher was calling him after the Swindon game. We win tonight. It could be a point just outside the playoffs. And who knows? And who knows? As always, a huge thank you to our Ko-Fi monthly contributors. That number is growing, and it's really exciting to see. Year one, this platform. Year two, hopefully we'll marry the team and we'll go step for step on an exciting journey and one that we'll both build on. So if you want to be a part of that, then obviously you can go to our Ko-Fi and hook that up monthly. If you can't, for whatever reason, doesn't matter whether you want to or not. Whatever reason, you can, of course, give them a one-off monthly donation as well. So group therapy can commence on the beer tab this evening. We've got a pint of ordinary, a pint of bland, a pint of something exciting, hopefully. And the left-hand side is like the ordinary boys. Boys will be boys. I'll let you decide if they're ordinary or if they're just going to be rubbish. Matt, the dog's attacking me again. We're not even getting through it. We're not even starting a show these days from getting attacked by the dog. Matt Stannard in the room. Welcome in, Matt. We've got Matt Stannard, Ipswich Jules, Mike D. I believe Captain Plastics in the room. Ipswich Jules. If goes ring this, did my cover? Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Ipswich Jules. Appreciate it, brother. I've sent some names to our wonderful designer George Nunn, who does it all off his own back. Voluntary. Sadly, can't pay him. So big up, George. Really do appreciate all your work. Ollie Startup, just got in from work. Mrs. Cook the roast. TT on the laptop and a beer. Happy days. That's what we like to hear. We've got Lee Anderson in the room. Lee, if Swindon beat Portsmouth, I'm really interested to know, are we back in it in your world? Because you were like many of us counting us out of this race. Could it be back in? Could we be back in the playoff hunt? Owen, dog, please let me try and at least start the show on a good foot, if you wouldn't mind. If you just wouldn't mind. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and bring one of my contributors in first now because the dog. Oh, brilliant! He's disappeared. Happy days, right? Let's bring this man in.
Wake up to the wow. Wake up to the money, turn me right on. You look like you got dressed with no lights on. A Superman that spin like a cyclone. Fit check spin like a cyclone. Wake up to the money, turn me right on.
Yeah, but we're crap. We're not going to dominate any team.
Get it on a t-shirt, Neil, because that's a great saying. Although times are changing. We were discussing on Sunday, about you've not really had a great run of Tuesday night fixtures, have you? You've not seen many goals or exciting moments.
Definitely not. Ipswich have saved up their worst performances for a Tuesday night.
So when the guys and girls at home see you, they should shudder if they don't already.
To be fair, Town generally like to let me down. If I don't go to a game, we normally do better. So
absolutely,
make it as you will.
Yeah. Hey, you've been with us since the start, and to see where the platform is now must obviously make you smile. But seeing where Town is currently, does it make you smile? Are you like Colin? Are you still in the hunt, or are you more Cruncher, more Matt Phillips? Are you more this race is run, it's over?
I'm somewhere in between. I'll just let the race run its course. If we somehow stumble our way into the playoffs, then brilliant. But I wouldn't go as far to say it's dead and buried. I'm just not out to say either way that we're out or we're in.
Cruncher says I'm not plastic anymore. Brandon Carter says good evening. We're looking for a scrappy 1-0 win. Chris Wardman, good evening, Guv, and the wonderful fans. Yes, good evening, Lewis. Heidi's in the room. Welcome in, Heidi. Glad you could make it. What is your drink this evening? I think I'm going to have a nice pint. It's nice beer garden weather. Do you know what I mean? It's
been beautiful out there.
It's been lovely. Russell Clayton, the editor. Evening all. Here we go again, praying for transformation from this set of players. Cruncher 76. Anyone who hasn't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. Good old Crunch, keep it going. I tell you what, are you missing anything about the matchday experience before we bring in Steve? And I'll ask him the same question to Steve get thinking, because I was stood in my kitchen this afternoon preparing enchiladas, and on came Hey Jude. And obviously towards the end, it starts up, and I just had to stand there with arms wide, singing "Hey Jude," na Ipswich. Are you missing anything particular about the match day experience?
It's seeing the people you don't normally see other than when you go to a football match, and just having a chat, see how they are, and anticipate how great the game's going to be. You know, you always have that little buzz of excitement, and then you always hope that something's good's gonna happen, and yeah.
Exactly. Do you remember in the old Drum and Monkey? Yes, that's where I'm really sort of when I sing "Hey Jude," that's where I really get sort of transported to the Drum and Monkey before the game. It's 5-3. You've just got another Newcastle Brown now. This is me now. You know you're going to be late, or you're going to have to bottle this down. And "Hey Jude" comes on the jukebox, and it's just like, particularly when they're like this, it's just that sort of moment, right?
Yeah, we haven't been able to do that for quite a while now, have we?
Too long. Let's bring in our aficionado of the F1 world, but does he know his onions with Ipswich? Of course he does. It's Tomo. What are you missing, Stephen Thomson, about the match day experience, my man?
I think one of the things for me, because I have to get the train to Portman Road, so I think a big thing I'm missing is that journey and the excitement of getting on the train and that journey there. It's about 40 minutes. And it's a simple thing, getting off the train and the walk to the stadium, and you're surrounded by town fans. I love the atmosphere. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Particularly like as I say, evenings like tonight makes me think of it's almost football weather, isn't it? You know, a few beers, whether playing or watching. Ollie Startup, I miss getting plastered at 12 o'clock and shouting, "Lino, you're a see you next Tuesday. Lino, you're a see you next Tuesday." That reminds me of a fantastic story I'll tell one day, maybe on a podcast, about Crystal Palace away, Neil, with me, you. No, wait, you weren't there. It was me, Rob, and Andy Mays.
I have been there. Because my fond memories is the fact that there was scaffolding and poles everywhere, and the visibility is absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, no, this one was the one where Wilfried Zaha came onto the field falling over and was so far, and then the last goal was so far offside. It was in the stand of a burger by the end of it. We got beat 5-0. It didn't go well. It was under McCarthy. But yeah, such times.
When
SAF,
was it when they had either Pablo or Cucci up top? Because whichever one it was, they scored against us.
No, that game they had Wilfred Daly, and they just really destroyed us from the first minute. But there was an instance where it was offside. One of the Glenn Murray hat trick. Yeah, those are the days. And because it was so far offside, the guy in front of us shouted, "Lino, you've made this beeping personal." And it just always stuck with me. It was 5-0 at this point, mixed second game. It wasn't Leicester the first one, Crunch, where it was like 6-0. Anyway, we digress. We are playing Northampton this evening, our first visit to Sixfields, and this is the lineup. It's in such a rush. I haven't had a chance to get the editable document done, or I haven't had a chance to speak to George. So here is the team. Thomas Holy is in goal. We've got Vincent Young, Wolfenden, McGuinness, and Ward. Same back four as Saturday. Then you've got Downs and Dazelle as your two holding midfielders, with Bennett, Sears, Edwards, and Jackson. That really could go either way in terms of Sears left, Bennett's right, Edwards behind. It could go Sears and Jackson together. It could go Sears behind Jackson. It really could go sort of any direction. But when you look at that team news, Neil, what's the first thing that jumps out at you there?
Good to see some consistency at the back, and Chambers hasn't jumped straight back in.
No, he misses his second game. When was the last time he missed 2 games in a row, Steve?
I honestly can't remember. Unless it was through an injury, I can't remember him ever missing 2 games in a row. Yeah,
Teddy Bishop misses out because he's ill. As he tweeted out this evening, I'm not very well. Then he confirmed that it wasn't him on the voice note, which we all knew anyway. I don't know anybody who ever believed it was him.
What?
Yeah, I know. Crazy as it was, sounding nothing like the boy. Stiggy, I love Stiggy. Stiggy's a great legend. Same shit, different game, which could well be true, Stig. I want to start with the bench, which is not always the most traditional place for a host or a panelist to start, but a lot of our issues for me comes from that bench. Like, let's say this game is going towards its traditional 0-0 at this point, right? You want to try and change it up. Well, how do
We've
you
got
change?
fantastic choices in Drinnan and Hawkins. Put them up top.
I'd rather
you
put
think
Hughes and Chambers up top.
It's going to have a hat trick each.
I want a pint of whatever you're on, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
I think Scoose will come on. He'll pop up with one as well.
Scouse, yeah, that's what you want to do. You keep bring Scouse on, get him to run the channels, use his blistering pace and natural ability of finishing. But yeah, as Lee says, Dobra can change the game. That's the only player on the bench for me that can change today's game. So let's hope the first plan, the A plan, as it were, or the A team, sort it out. Back four unchanged. Midfield two, Dazelle and Downs. We're playing a bottom four side here, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
I say it every week. Last week, though, he really did play well for me, Andre Dazelle. His best game in a blue shirt. Want to see more of the same tonight, particularly against who we're playing?
Yeah, definitely. He needs to get that consistency. Because he's had such an up and down season. Like you say, last game was his best game for a long time. More of the same today would be brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neil.
If he wants to, especially if he wants to stay here.
Yeah. Did you manage to catch the game on Saturday, Neil?
I did, but
How do you rate Andre's performance?
he was okay. He's got to do it more consistently for me. One-offs is no good.
And against opposition like tonight, really should be his bread and butter, shouldn't it? You know, a team that looks like it's going down, even if it doesn't go down, only just come up this year from League Two. People often say about Andre, Neil, should be playing at a higher level. Now, you've played with players who perhaps should have been playing at a higher level than the one they were playing at. You see it, don't you? When you see this ability that everyone raves, or do you seriously think that maybe this is Andre's level?
I struggle to believe that he is purely a step above and he should be playing at a higher level. If that was the case, he would be showing it a little more for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, okay, he can be a good player, and if he had others that would make the runs they need to, I think that's the main thing. If we had other players that would make the good runs, then his passes would actually be made some use of.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Is Neil actually at home tonight? Says Cruncher76.
I am.
Happy days. Good man. Matt Stanov, first time I've seen Neil in the room without a purple Premier Inn glow. Yes, he's in more Premier Inns than Lenny Henry this point.
I've got the fields out behind us.
You have. Absolutely beautiful. He's got the 100 meg of broadband speed that then when we go live, Steve, always goes down to 20 and he disappears on his microwave internet. Brandon Carter, bring Chambers on off the bench with 20 seconds left to get him to 400. Good point. Let's talk about what could be our left-hand side. I'm going to call them the ordinary boys. Boys will be boys. Stephen Ward from Freddie Spears. I'll let you decide why. Dad's Army is another name I've called it recently. It's not going to frighten anybody, that is it. If you're sat in the cobbler's dressing room tonight, Steve, looking at that left-hand side potentially.
Do you believe his Sears is going to be out there?
I fucking hope not.
Yeah.
I think I ain't running 5 years. I think I'll probably be quicker out there.
Yeah, it doesn't exactly strike fear into your opposition, does it?
No, it does not.
Stephen Ward, he's just,
I get
slower
the feeling,
than something that's incredibly slow. Nothing comes to mind right now, but, not
Neil?
good.
I get the feeling Bennett will be out one side, Edwards the other, and Sears will be around Jackson.
Cruncher 76, God have mercy on the cobbler's back four tonight.
Why are they going to die of boredom?
Well, the keeper might. Opposition keepers have in recent weeks. Okay, so let's go with your world. Edwards left, Bennett's right, Sears behind the striker, or Sears with Jackson. Is that a better three? Is that a better combination of three, balance of three for you then, Neil? Or is anybody else, maybe Dobra you'd like to have seen given that nod, considering where we are and who we're playing?
It would have been good to see Dobra from the outset, but he hasn't really shown us why he deserves that. Sears, he's not convinced me this season. Bennett has moments of good play, but then he'll leave the ball behind. None of them really drive that absolute brilliance into you, do they?
No, but then we are third tier, Steve. So it's a bit of a tricky situation because a lot of the fan base can still remember good players. Of course they can. Particularly over in recent years, Selena, Fraser, Lawrence, we're not there anymore. Not yet, anyway. So you got it like Keenan Bennett. He is a third-tier player for me. He has glimpses, has pace.
Yeah.
I don't know. I almost say he's more fourth tier.
No,
He's just it's not good enough.
Way.
He's third tier, but there's so many mistakes he's got to iron out. Just constant running into trouble, leaving the ball behind, running himself into corners. He'll work that out.
Yeah, but if he did work it out, it'd be a second-tier player. Because
he's direct, he's quick. Theo Walcott. A bit of pace, nothing else.
Sort it out, man. Ollie started my fridge is more pace than Ward. Carl Brooks says, must look like Neymar and Train. How he's still getting picked is beyond me. Chris Potter, why don't we play Kenlock left midfield? Yeah, good shout. I mean, that is normally his tactical switch, that, bringing Kenlock on. He's like the ace in the hole, isn't he? He's the joker. You're a goal down cookie. What do you do? Bring Miles on. All right, fine.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Edwards. Flatters. Would you keep Gwion Edwards? I'll ask you both this. Steve, you can kick it off. Would you keep Gwion Edwards?
No. I was always a fan of him, but this season it's just been. I know he missed a bit through injury, and he started off really well. These past few games, he's not done anything really of note. So I'd just let him go.
We've got Stephen Parry with no, Brian Dow with no, Elliot Leader with no, and an exclamation point. That always adds extra oomph to it. I like that, Elliot. Michael Finch, no. Matt Bannard, no. Mike Brown, no. Edwards, for me, has not played well. Neil, how about yourself? Does he flatter to deceive, or do you think there's a player in there?
He has moments where he's the only player on our team that actually drives forward, so he gets the ball up the pitch. But then another game, you question, is he even on the pitch? And he's not very consistent, and he can be injured. Is it worth all of that aggro that we've had with him? No. So I'd let him go.
Would he be would you, I don't disagree. For right now, as a starter, he's a symbol, just one of many, of why we're in League One, thanks to the Paul Hurst transfer recruitment. Donastian might be leaving this summer. Edwards might be leaving. Jackson we'll get onto in a second. But none of them have really stood out head and shoulders. I'm hearing Rob Davies, Joe Hart in my ear now, Neil. But would you consider Edwards as a rotation piece next season? So give him a new year, a new deal, but bringing in a couple of wingers, an attacking midfield player, and having him off the bench as opposed to being the starter, would that give you a bit more confidence in him, or are you just ready for that fresh start?
I think it'd be good to see him off the bench.
Yeah.
He has, as I mentioned, he has that ability in him to change a game. We just don't see enough of it.
Steve?
Yeah, and I agree with Neil. Again, you see flashes of what he can do. There are some games you think, that's amazing, do it for 90 minutes every game, but then he'll go AWOL in the next one. So, yeah, maybe it's like an impact sub where I don't know what happens to him during a game, but he just drops off the pace. So maybe if he just comes on for the last 20 minutes or so, he'll be on it all game or for his time on the pitch and make something happen. I don't know.
Yeah, give him so it's difficult because ideally I'd give him 1 year with an option of a year, but no player will take that because it's not secure enough. But you give him a 2-year deal and it goes to plan, you get promoted. He's not a championship player for me. I don't see him ever being a championship player. I might be wrong on that. We've got Lloyd Gladden. Gov, can you shout out my little nephew Ewan? Or Ewan, sorry, I do apologise. Watching the show for the first time tonight. He's predicted they're lost tonight, unfortunately. Said they're just rubbish at the moment, age 5. You and I.
He's not wrong there, is he?
No, Ewan, you're spot on. You're spot on. You already know you're talking town onions. Good stuff. Elliot, he shows moments of being better than this league, but not enough to get out of this league. Mike D. Living off a flick against. Yes, well,
that was brilliant.
Yeah, it all started so well that day. Michael Finch. We have no impact players who can make a difference. Mike Brown, Edwards as bench player at best. Maybe a kick up the yards would be what he needs. Yeah, I just think obviously you're going to need to bring a lot of players in this summer. If you can solve a potential depth issue in fairly cheap terms, then why not? And also it's continuity. But not continuity of the bad kind. Like, unfortunately, I think Sears, Hughes, Chambers, fans view them rightly or wrongly with a lot of the Marcus Evans era. So that's continuity in the wrong way. Whereas Edwards is still fresh enough in that era to not be tarnished. Do you feel, Neil?
I'm not sure what Sears has to offer us anymore.
He doesn't. Simple as that.
Because he used to have a little bit of pace. He used to be consistent at holding on onto the ball. He never really ever gave it away. And originally, when we first got him, he would be good in and around another striker to poach goals, on the shoulder of the defenders. But we haven't seen that in a long while.
Absolutely. JT, the players we're looking to sign in the summer are a high caliber. They're 99% of what we have now. Edwards definitely needs to go. Jonathan Stringer is reporting that Chelsea have just said they're pulling out the Super League. If that's true, it's already unveiling in front of our very eyes. What a shame. You're still going to play in the Vanarama National. Callie Bisler, too old and too expensive to be impact player. We'd have Lancaster, absolutely. Lloyd, never going to change the whole squad in one season. Pick out the best of a bad bunch. The goat that is Colin Plum is in the building. Good stuff. Dominique, I don't think we'll see the Cole most are talking about. Unless we have replacements actually in place, they won't risk leaving a squad short, no matter how limited in talent we are. Yeah, spot on. Yeah, absolutely spot on. Yeah, in some of those aspects there. Lee, funny how the club were worried about Judge getting injured and not getting a club. What about all the others out of contract? I did think that myself, Lee. Then I thought, well, technically it was a clause in the contract, and Judge was offering to waiver it, and that's a bit different than a player that knows this is his last year and et cetera, et cetera. Ben Moore, why no Kenlock? We've been saying that every week, and let's get on to Caden Jackson, because many are not fans. Many are. Well, where are you two on Caden?
That's a tricky one. I'm not a massive fan, to be honest. I don't know. He's just, unless he's been in a front two. Like last year in a front two, he was great. This year, I know he's obviously had a sort of stop-start season with injuries, and he got COVID and all that, and then he got banished to the under-23s. But he just never seems to have taken the opportunity when he's been given it.
Yeah,
even as a lone starter, I know the service isn't brilliant, but there's just nothing from him.
Yeah, Neil, football is a very much what have you done for me lately business. Nobody will remember what Caden Jackson did last year, whether here or elsewhere. But he has got a real opportunity in tonight's game and the next round.
To be fair, I do remember him from in the Championship where he struggled and we struggled. But the simple chances he wouldn't take, but the volleys and the little sniffs at goal, he would end up smashing them home. You think, well, why couldn't you put the simple ones in? And then, he's struggled ever since then, really. And he's had glimpses now and again, but his recent arrogance, or from what I perceive, his attitude's wrong. Mm-hmm. I thought he was different to that, but
I think he's feeding off scraps. My attitude would be wrong in this team, because it's a contract year. You want to force a move away, and you're getting fed one ball every 3 games. I'd be fucking pissed off with that, mate. You know, at the end of the day, strikers, Jackson, Norwood, etc., are judged on goals. Keepers are judged on clean sheets. Midfielders depends. Like Dazelle, for example, I judge him on assists. If I'm Jackson, this is my year to cement my move away to a bigger club. Let's be honest. Everyone says if his head's not here, we're a 3rd-tier club at the moment. No player is growing up dreaming at the moment of playing in a 3rd-tier team. So they should all want to move away. That shows ambitious. That shows players that want to go places, and that by proxy should take your club with it.
Yeah, and with a bit of professionalism, that absolutely, drive and determination to drive your team forward that you're at that moment also makes you look better, and the club will come in for you, not sulk and do whatever he has been doing.
Well, has he? I disagree. I never question a player's work ethic or work rate, and I think he's just generally. You watch him tonight. First 10 minutes, he'll be buzzing around the place. 15 minutes, 20 minutes. He's feeding on scraps, and he's a striker that needs opportunity. He's like any striker in the English 3rd tier. You need 4, 5, 6 chances for one, and And
Yes, but Martin, with the way we play, and it's just aimless balls over the top earlier in the season, you have to gamble as a striker. There's times where the defenders aren't going to get to them balls, and he's still too busy wandering back from an offside position. It's like, well, if you're more where the game was, I know it's a hard job up there, and you're constantly being asked to chase aimless passes, but
you are from our midfield, and they are aimless.
Yeah.
Jem says Jackson's not a lone striker. Quick one. Yeah, I can't argue with that, Jem. He does want one up front, and you're right. Jackson's not a one up front striker.
I just remember more determination when he was in the Championship. He was far more interested in the runs.
We'll come back, Jackson. No point. Right, bold prediction time. Scores in the chat. We've got Lloyd Gladding kicking us off early with a Northampton 0, Town 4. Easy dub. Neil, got bold prediction, please. What's yours?
2-0.
2-0. Who to?
Ipswich.
We're going to score 2 goals. Fucking hell. That'd be delirium. That'd be delirious. Cruncher 76, 2-0 Cobblers. Carl Brooks, 0-0. I never want to see a 0-0 ever again for as long as I live. Steve, what about you?
1-0.
1-0. Town. Yeah, good stuff. Ben's gone 1-0 Northampton. Ollie's gone 1-0 Cobblers. 1-0. 3-1. Jason's gone 0-0. No, not 0-0. Right. We're back at halftime. Then again, of course, full time, but back at halftime for hopefully just to pull apart how we were so fantastically great in that first half. And where did that come from? I'm going to say Town 2, Northampton 1. Northampton to score first. We'll see you at halftime.